Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the Naval ROTC application. This is primarily for high school students. I'm going to make a separate video for students who are already in college, but we're going to talk about different elements of what the Navy is looking for the National Scholarship and some program requirements for it, what major you might want to enter with, and what sort of things you might want to include on your application. So we'll go through all of those things. I'll try and make this as rapid fire as I can. If you have any more questions, please do leave them in the comments, and I'll be making more videos about this. I want this to be a series because there's so much to cover. I am very passionate about NROTC, and I'm hoping that I can, again, use this video to mentor people who might not have access to someone to ask these questions to. So we'll go over some program entrance requirements. I'm reading this off of a website that I'm going to post in the description box. This website has pretty much all there is to know about NROTC, and it applies as a blanket policy for every NROTC program in the whole country. So if you're applying to Villanova or San Diego State or Purdue or Notre Dame, any of those programs, all of this advice is the same for pretty much every place you go. All right, so going into some of the program entrance requirements, I'm just going to read a few, but you need to have U.S. citizenship, a naturalized U.S. citizen, or be in the process of becoming a naturalized U.S. citizen, not less than 17 years old and not yet 23 by September 1st of the year you're starting college, must not have reached your 27th birthday upon graduation and commissioning. No criminal record of military or civilian offenses, medically qualified by the Navy or Marine Corps standards, no body piercings that violate Navy or Marine Corps policy. For Navy and nurse option only, students attending a non-NROTC affiliated school may apply for a national NROTC scholarship regardless of the number of college credits earned. Students attending an NROTC affiliated school or school with crosstown agreement should consult the professor of naval science or any members of the staff at the host university's NROTC unit to discuss application opportunities through that unit's college program and 2 or 3 year scholarship applications. So I'll be talking about that next time. If you've never heard of the NROTC college program or the 2 or 3 year sideload scholarship, you'll definitely want to stay tuned for our next video. Those things matter more for students who are already in college. However, high school students can apply for the college program as a backup to the national scholarship. So nice to have another option. So we'll go over that next time, just way more to cover that we won't get to today. For Marine options only, high school students who have completed less than 30 college credits can be submitted for the 4-year national scholarship prior to graduating from high school. We'll touch on this really quick. There's 3 different applications that you can submit for NROTC. One is going to be Navy nursing, one is going to be Navy, just straight up Navy option, and the other one is Marine Corps option. So when you enter NROTC, and this is almost an eligibility requirement too, you want to know or have an idea of what job you're interested in pursuing in the Navy or Marine Corps. NROTC is the program for you if you want to be a Marine officer, just any kind of Marine officer, or if you want to be a Navy nurse, a surface warfare officer, a submariner, a naval aviator, so pilot or naval flight officer, if you want to be a explosive ordnance disposal officer or a special warfare officer, so that's Navy SEAL. There are very few other options other than those options I mentioned. Information warfare is becoming an option more and more. The quota is increasing for NROTC. So if you want to be a cyber warfare engineer, for example, in the information warfare community, then that option is on the table now, which is great. I don't know much about it because none of my students have commissioned into that yet that I've been aware of, but if I learn more about it this year, I'll definitely pass that information to you. All right, you must be within Navy or Marine Corps height and weight standards when you report. You must gain admission to an approved Navy ROTC college or university. Admission to a Navy ROTC institution is not required during the selection process. However, notification of admission must be received before the scholarship can be activated. That makes sense. You want to make sure that you're applying to schools that have Navy ROTC at them. If you're going through all the trouble of applying for Navy ROTC, make sure you can use your scholarship. I think that is about all, although this mentions another pretty good nugget here. So Navy and nurse option applicants should apply online or through Navy recruiting offices. Same with Marine Corps applicants. Marine Corps applicants should apply online or through Marine Corps recruiting offices. And that apply online is highlighted on this link, so I'll make sure you have that. Quick thought on that too. You're welcome to reach out to the unit of the school that you're applying for or the school that's your first choice, but there's very little that school can do to help you apply because so often I get emails constantly from students who are not part of our program asking, okay, what are the steps for applying, etc. And I do engage with them, I do help them, but the people that you want to talk to for this process include Navy or Marine Corps recruiters, not necessarily the staff at the school that you are going to attend. Because I get students after they've already completed this process. I don't have any role in the application itself. I can advise you just because I've become a little bit familiar, but the real information is both online and with Navy recruiters. So hopefully that helps anyone who wants to talk to someone more in depth about this. We'll go over some of the requirements as far as majors. So you might be wondering what is most attractive to the Navy or Marine Corps, more specifically Navy in this situation. The Marine recruiters would have more information about which majors a student would be allowed to take, although I think it's a little bit more free and open for Marine applicants to select any major that they desire. The Navy has pretty significant requirements or desires for their students to have certain majors. So there's 3 tiers that spell out exactly what major falls into which tier. So tier 1 academic majors include aerospace, chemical, electrical, mechanical, nuclear, ocean, systems, naval architecture, and marine engineering. So those are your classical engineering backgrounds. Tier 2 include just a few things. It's a very long list, so I'll pick out a few. Astrophysics, biotechnology, chemistry, civil engineering, computer engineering, that was me, general science, mathematics, mining and mineral engineering, oceanography, physics, quantitative economics, statistics. The list goes on. It's basically everything that is a STEM major that's not in tier 1. Tier 3 is going to be everything else. The Navy needs to take in 85% tier 1 and tier 2 applicants. So out of the list of people that get that acceptance letter, 85% have to be tier 1 or tier 2. Tier 3, that only leaves 15% of that pool that can be a tier 3 major. So it's something to think about. I think students should take the major that they're most interested in, the one that they think they'll earn the highest GPA in, the one that they're going to be happy going to class, because I think that's more important as an advisor to about 35 college students. I can tell when they're passionate about it, and luckily many of my students are, and I think a student does especially well when it's something that they actually like to learn about. If you have any questions or concerns about the application itself, a great email to reach out to is listed on this page, but it's grlk_NROTC.scholarship@navy.mil. So that is a place to turn to if you have any questions on the actual application, the mechanics of doing this online, things like that, any issues you might have. So we'll talk about next some of the things that you'd be able to include in your NROTC application. looking at it from the outside, it doesn't seem like that long of an application, but I'm sure I remember how this stuff was when I was applying. So definitely time consuming, but it's important. So take your time with it. This application asks about school history data, like where you went to high school, information about your parents. It goes into a lot of room for sports. So if you were involved in any JV or varsity teams, varsity letters, team captain or co-captain positions, all state, district, city, or county teams, you'll definitely want to flesh that out in the sports section. That's super attractive to NROTC because it shows you have leadership experience being on a sports team, as well as experience working out, being physically fit, and prioritizing your health. The application will also ask, how well do you swim and how often do you swim? This doesn't weigh too much on the decision making, I will say, but you want to keep in mind that you will have to swim while you're in NROTC. We do have swim quals that we do and require. Same with your time in the Navy or Marine Corps. Once you commission, you will have swimming as a factor again in a lot of training scenarios. So no requirement to swim well. That can be fixed. That's one of those things. We can help you and help you succeed better. I'm sure there's going to be many other midshipmen in your future unit that would be very willing to help you improve your skills in the pool. Non-athletic activities, these could include scouting. You can include that. School officers, so if you were involved in the student body, if you were a class officer, if you were an officer of a school club, so you'll want to fill in all that information. If you've worked on the school publication, if you've been in a school organization like Boys or Girls State or National Honor Society, you'll want to list if you have any awards or honors. These can include academic awards, citizenship awards, or sports awards. Really any awards that you've gotten in the past. Music participation, if you've been in orchestra, chorus, or band. Volunteer work, if you've worked in a hospital setting or with handicapped or elderly people, if you tutored or coached children or other, and you have plenty of space to annotate all your volunteer work. Other activities that it specifically lists out include participation as an actor or actress in competitive dramatic or humorous readings, cheerleader, drill team, color guard, sailing association, JROTC, Civil Air Patrol, Sea Cadets. Other accomplishments, it'll go through any qualifications that you have. So if you are a lifeguard, a paramedic, certified water safety instructor, if you have a scuba license, if you have private pilot license or a certified nursing assistant, all of these things are great to see because that demonstrates a lot of maturity. By no means required, but definitely like to see a student who has lifeguarding experience, for example, because we can definitely use that in the unit for any of our pool activities. It'll have space for you to enter your test scores, any work history, then your college preferences. So you can list up to 5 colleges on your application, and all of those 5 would need to have a NROTC affiliation, whether that's a host university or a crosstown university. As far as the essays go, I won't kind of spill the beans on this, but the general themes that you want to touch on for your essays are reasons for wanting to be in the military or serve. So what are your reasons to serve? Why do you want to be a naval officer or Marine Corps officer? Really flesh out that answer. You'll want to discuss any experience you might have living overseas or living with a different culture and how that's developed your worldview, as well as any adversity you might have experienced in life and what you learned from that adversity. All right, that's really all for the application. A few other little things that you'll have to fill in include what you do to maintain or improve your physical fitness. So I always ask that in my interviews. I asked about your workout routine, but it's listed right here as well. How many hours per week you spend doing volunteer work, extracurriculars, athletic team activities, doing homework, and at school. And then finally, it asks which community you'd wish to enter upon commissioning. So again, those options right now for 2023, surface warfare, naval aviator, naval flight officer, submarine officer, explosive ordnance disposal, or special warfare officer. So those are your options. Definitely encourage you to check out My Navy HR. Has so much information about all the different jobs in the Navy, but again, you can only choose from a select few. So you want to make sure that you're okay with that. There's, again, 3 different applications. One is the one I just described where it's a Navy option. One is a Navy nursing application, and then one is a Marine officer or Marine option application. Hopefully that clears things up and gets your mind wondering about NROTC a little bit more. If there's any more questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.